Hi, my name's John. And a year ago, I'd never even heard of Fruits Basket. That is until my girlfriend introduced the anime to me.
And I'm Allie. I've been reading the manga since I was in 3rd grade.
We loved watching season 1 together so much, and we'd have all these crazy long discussions about what happened in each episode.
And for season 2, we thought it would be really fun to share our conversations with you.
So join us today as we talk about season 2, episode 7, Let's Start the Watermelon Splitting Contest. So before we get started, if you're a returning listener, then welcome back. And if you're a new listener, we're glad to have you on our Fruits Basket podcast. And if you want to stay up to date with all of our Fruits Basket content, then make sure to go down and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. But with all that out of the way, where are we starting?
Alrighty, we're starting out with a little preview flash forward kind of thing with Yuki and Akito, but we go into that a little bit later, so let's skip past that and skip past the opening and go straight to Hiro. He's getting a call from his mom and she's pregnant.
Baby!
Baby!
Spring fever.
Yes,
I guess it's summer. I guess it's summer now. But, so, I thought that this was so cute, because his interaction with his mom on the phone was just kind of precious, which is a softer side of Hiro than we typically see outside of interacting with Kisa.
Yeah, he was so worried about her, and he's like, don't trip, I know you're clumsy, and
yes.
My manga knowledge may come out a little bit here, because he goes into it further in the manga, and he just keeps saying, like, I know you're really clumsy, I know you're gonna fall, please be careful, and he keeps saying that, and then he gets really worried, and he's like, oh no, I know her, I know she'll actually do it, and Kisa's like, you're gonna be a good big brother. So we missed that little bit, which I'm really sad about, but, you know, it came across. You obviously got it as an anime only.
Yeah. And so, I also liked this, because he said that she went to the doctor, and who's the doctor? It's Hattori, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that means that we saw his mom. That's the first time we saw her, right?
Yeah, that was 100% her, yes.
Okay. So we saw her when she was talking with Hattori, when Shigure kind of nudged close the little divider or whatever, the window.
Yeah, and it was the day before, and she looked so excited talking to him, and he didn't look like he had a crush on her or anything, but, you know, you kind of got that feeling just because Shigure closed the little window.
I totally thought he was flirting. I 100% thought he was flirting, and that's why Shigure closed the window, to just kind of cover for his bro, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Trick's on you! Takaya gotcha!
And that's totally why it was framed like that. And then, so that whole thing kind of unraveled. Everyone's excited because Hiro's mom's pregnant. And this is such a small little thing, but I like how his phone had was it Mogata?
Yeah, Mogata.
That whole thing was so wholesome.
It was very cute. And then, you know, opposite of wholesome is Shigure trying to ask Tohru out on a date, being weird and talking about those swimsuits. So is Shigure.
Nope. Ugh. Icky. Not a big fan.
But then our boys come and they're like, hello, what do you think you're doing, Shigure? And they're ready to go set up the watermelon splitting contest.
And I loved their little conversation that they have as they're walking up.
Yes.
Like through the forest. Because I feel like these little conversations have so many little nuggets that you can just latch onto at the same time as Tohru's latching onto them. Because she never thought of the fact that her talking about her mom could potentially have an effect on the Somas. I don't think it ever does, personally. But the fact that this idea hadn't really crossed her mind until this, I don't know. I thought that was an interesting insight into her mind, and it kind of relates to kind of how she acts a little bit later.
Yeah, and they also discussed some things about the curse that we never really heard said out loud before. You could have maybe like pieced them together,
Yeah.
but no one really ever bothers to at this point.
Mm.
So something like all of the zodiac animals are currently
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah.
And as long as no one dies, no one has to worry about any of the mothers in the entire Soma clan or any of the ones that get married into the clan having any zodiac children. So Hiro's mama definitely isn't going to be having a zodiac baby.
Yeah. Which means, because they haven't technically confirmed that Kureno's the rooster, we don't know if the rooster's even around technically, but this does confirm that the rooster is alive. No more zodiac members need to be born. And so I thought that was just a little saying, if someone hasn't picked up yet, that the rooster is for sure out there and we have been introduced to the rooster, this is saying, okay, here it is.
Yeah. And so then, after their little talk, Momiji just pulls out this celebration out of his butt. He's like, yeah, the watermelon splitting contest to celebrate Hiro's baby. And Hiro's like, it's not my baby, knock it off.
Like,
It's so funny.
I think it's so funny how he's always saying, I'm not the one who's pregnant. I'm not giving birth to this child. It's just my sibling.
Yeah.
But Momiji's still just saying, oh, but we need to celebrate. And I think that there's more to it than just Momiji wanting to celebrate, because I almost feel, this might be reading into it too much, but I feel like Momiji is almost jealous. Because Momiji has a little sister. And Momiji's not allowed to know or even acknowledge the existence of his little sister.
I'm not okay. Don't bring up Momo. She makes me cry.
Which, that's such a tragedy in and of itself, that her name's Momo, which is essentially the female version of Momiji.
Mm-hmm.
And
literally replaced.
So the fact that Hiro gets to have a little sibling, Momiji wants to celebrate that. And I think that's really tragic and really heartwarming all at the same time, because I would say Momiji is probably the most mature character from what we've seen thus far, just in general, in terms of the school age characters.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with you there. And he does so well with the information. But then they go and they're gonna break these watermelons, but he definitely did not bring any of the equipment to properly break them, like with the blindfold and the stick. And Hatsuharu doesn't even care. He just breaks the watermelon like, Hiro, you must become a brother that can break open watermelons with your fist.
And then Tohru gets really excited about it.
Yeah.
Because her and her mom, as revealed later, are used to do this. And then she stops herself because she remembers what Hiro said the other episode about her talking about her mom too much. And I was like, no, please talk about your mom. They don't care. I promise you. Talk about her.
Yeah, she was so upset thinking that she was bothering all the other Somas by bringing up her mom when she knows that a lot of them have issues with their own parents and she doesn't even know about, like, Hiro's dad or Kisa's dad or, like, what's going on there. So she's just feeling so awful about bringing up her mom constantly after being called out by Hiro. And Kyo immediately is like, oh my gosh, Hiro.
And even Hiro, when she stopped herself, even Hiro was thinking, oh no, I really had an effect on her, didn't I? Which, that's growth. That is growth right there. Him having the cognition to say, I don't think I used that right, but being cognizant enough to say, oh man, I guess I did mess up the other day. This is still bothering her, even though she's still acting all happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, he's starting to become Kyo in a way where he's like, okay, I'm starting to pick up on that even if she does seem really happy, it's probably not real.
Yeah.
Look at what she's doing right now. She's very bothered.
Yeah.
But, yep, they Tohru tries to break open the watermelon. Kisa is all rare to go, and Hiro, our new voice of reason,
Yeah.
is like, stop, please.
Oh, he's growing on me more and more. Especially this episode, there was not a bad Hiro moment to be found.
I agree. He was a shining star this episode.
Yeah. And I also want, since we're at the melons, I kept talking about from the intro to all of these episodes that we've already recorded. If you haven't listened to our other episodes, go listen to those. I talk a lot about the melons, and I will argue that I was right.
I thought it was so funny when you said something about like nourishment or something about like a soft inner part, but like a hard shell. Yeah. And that's so funny because it kind of relates to Hiro specifically being like a brother. Yeah. And that's why I was cracking up when you brought up that theory, because I was like, oh my gosh, I could kind of relate it to exactly that in a weird way.
It comes up a lot in this episode too. So my theory, TLDR, the melon has a rough outer shell. You break it open to reach the sweetness and the genuineness and the flavor and the soft part, which is the true part of the melon, essentially. And so that happens with Hiro. We see him starting to soften and become almost more vulnerable in a way. And we see that later with Yuki, specifically. Don't want to jump the gun on that, but we see that so profoundly with Yuki, just kind of letting the inside shine, kind of breaking open that rough exterior. So I think that this is symbolism that spans the whole episode, and I think it's really cool. Yeah, so...
I love your analogy. It's really cute.
I'm determined to make it work.
I believe in you. Okay, so next, after your watermelon theory...
Yeah, it makes sense with the theming.
It does. You are right. It does.
If you agree
sense.
with me, respond in the comments about the melons.
Okay, so the kids and Momiji are all asleep on the ground, and Yuki's looking at her while Hatsuharu's telling him a bunch of weird facts about himself and how he thought watermelons would grow in his stomach. Hatsuharu is amazing.
I love him.
But Yuki gets this special moment where he's reflecting on his childhood, and he's watching Tohru just be, like, best girl, covering up the kiddos with a blanket.
I was like, oh my god. That was such, like, a mom moment, where Tohru's like, ooh, I'll go cover up the kids. They're so sleepy after a long day at the beach. It was such, like, Tohru is mom right now.
Yes.
And I feel like that's so her existence in the Soma household. She's the one who cooks and cleans and takes care of them when they're sick. Like, Tohru is such a mom.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was really... It was a sweet moment, and I stand by it, but I had a moment where I realized that I might be wrong about the ship. That I keep saying, I think that Kyo and Tohru are 100% going to become a thing. They just have so much chemistry, such a good dynamic, and I stand by that. But this episode had a few moments where I was thinking I could see myself potentially being wrong, you know?
Okay,
I don't think I am, but I could see it happening now more tangibly than I ever have before.
Question for you.
Okay.
Do you think this will be like a stereotypical shoujo anime in which the girl has to choose between two or more people, and that's the whole point? Is like,
no,
girl chooses between two different guys to end up with at the end, or do you think there's more to it?
There's gonna be so much more to it. We can see that. It almost feels like the whole romance thing takes a back seat to the broader plot line because it's so much more character driven than just, ooh, who's gonna date who. The show, from what I'm seeing, has so much more depth to that, and if it got whittled down or funneled down into just who's she gonna pick, I don't think it would work really well, and I'd be very upset with it. So I don't think it'll turn into that ultimatum. I do still think that she's gonna end up with Kyo. I think, like I was saying, again, last episode, that Yuki just doesn't understand what he's looking for. And so he thinks he wants romance, but I don't think that he really does. I think he wants something different from Tohru, whether that's someone he can trust beyond anything to come to with his problems, or whatever it might be. So, really, he might just be looking for a rock, not necessarily a romantic partner. But if it did turn into them being a romantic couple, I can see enough of a crack in the door where I would admit that I was wrong if I'm wrong. You know?
Okay. Manga readers will definitely appreciate your little theory on that. But,
Yay.
So, Yuki is watching Tohru, and then next thing you know, Kyo shows up, which kind of wipes away the smile from Yuki's face. And Hatsuharu says it's an ordeal. And Yuki's like, I'm going on a walk.
Boy is jealous.
You think he's jealous?
I think...
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want to, confirm. You totally think he's jealous?
I think he is jealous because I think he knows that Kyo has way more organic conversations with Tohru. Because between those two, it's an actual conversation. With Yuki and Tohru, from what I've seen, it tends to be Yuki unloading his stuff and Tohru being a good person who will listen to him and comfort him.
Oh, that's an interesting little note.
And kind of flashing forward a little bit, a good shoulder to cry on, if you will.
Yeah. She definitely does have a good shoulder to cry on, and many people have cried on it.
Yes. And so I think that's what upset him, maybe jealous, again, not necessarily romantically, but just that he doesn't quite know how to do that and have that dynamic, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay. And so Yuki leaves, and then Kyo and Tohru get down to business with some real talk. And Kyo, he noticed before that she was upset, and he's going to bring it up. So, what'd you make of this scene?
I love everything about their interactions. I thought that it was just so nice to be able to see them interacting. Him really being so emotionally intelligent, which at the beginning of the series is not something that I ever thought I would say about Kyo.
Yeah, he was a little bit... not dense. He definitely knew when he had upset her, but he didn't know how to not upset her.
He was very rough around the edges, but he's so emotionally intelligent now that he picks up on the smallest little things. At least emotionally intelligent in regards to her. And so when she asks about his parents, when he stopped himself from admitting his mom committed suicide and just said she died in an accident, I was like, oh my. That hurt because he couldn't admit that she committed suicide. But then when he said she died in an accident, you see Tohru's eyes get so wide that because that's what happened to her mom, correct? She got hit by a car. And so there's almost another connection there, because Tohru's thinking, what happened to your mom's the exact same thing that happened to my mom, and I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so I don't know how to express it, but I was so sad.
It was a really heart-wrenching moment, and definitely one of my favorites from the manga, just getting to see them bond like that, and seeing Kyo open up. And I thought it was so funny that he didn't even realize he hadn't mentioned the story prior.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I didn't tell you before? Oh, well, yeah, here's the story of my parents. And then he asked Tohru if she had ever smashed watermelons with her mom. And the fact that he just blatantly says it. He's just going right back to the watermelon thing. It's been stuck in his mind for like hours at this point. He's like, so did you break watermelons with your mom? Just wants to hear the story because he knows that she wants to say it.
And she was so happy to tell the story about them breaking the tree and then breaking Dad. And then,
yeah.
Which they keep bringing up her dad. I think this is 2 episodes in a row now, and we really don't know much of anything about her dad. So the fact that they keep saying, oh, remember Tohru's dad, you know, the one you don't know that much about? Yeah. Just keep him in mind. I feel like he's going to be a core player in some way moving forward. I think he is tied into this story somehow. I can't tell you how because I have no idea. That's all I've got. I have no proof of that. But I think he's gonna be relevant because they keep talking about him.
Who knows, but it's noted, and if he becomes important later, or if he doesn't,
you heard it here first. Unless you read the manga, and you already know. So you're thinking one of 2 things. You're thinking he's right, or oh, you sweet summer child. How naive.
Oh my goodness. But one of my favorite moments of the Kyo Tohru talk is when Tohru says, it was fun, or like she was about to finish the word fun, and she looks at Kyo, and he has the softest, cutest little smile in the whole world, and I just melted. And then he says, did you have fun, to let her finish her sentence after she got a little distracted there? And she smiles and goes, it was fun. And I can't with that moment. I can't. So sweet. But then on to less sweet things. Shigure and Hattori. So Hattori shows up, and so I just have some questions for you.
Go. Shoot.
1, what is Shigure up to, and what does he ultimately want? Because he keeps mentioning how he needs to get what he wants.
So, okay. Because I've been trying to riddle this one out. And so in season 1, okay, I remember that they talked about a dream that I think he had, Hattori had, Ayame and Richan.
Yeah, the monkey, yeah.
Yeah, the monkey. They all had this same dream and woke up. And so I think it has to do with grabbing onto that dream. I think it's about being able to truly experience love somehow. I don't know. I don't really know how to elaborate on that. But I think somehow his schemes are to fix the curse so that he can get what he wants and truly be able to experience love in its truest form. Okay?
Okay.
So
in that little dream flashback, he did say, or at least he talked to Hattori at one point and said that the dream had become like dark and twisted for Hattori and Ayame.
Yeah.
But he still held on to the dream and wanted to make it his goal.
Which, if he is looking for that unconditional love or whatever it might be, I mean, he's a romance novelist, correct?
He is, yes.
So, what do novelists typically do? They look at what they want, and they write about what their desires are, or their dreams, or whatever it might be. And so, I think that might be core to it, and it got twisted for Hattori because of the whole thing that happened with the love of his life and him having to completely erase her memory, and now she's engaged to some other dude, which is dark, that's twisted. So I don't know what happened with Ayame. Do we really know much about? I don't really know much about his love life or lack thereof. So
yeah, we don't really get much insight to his love life yet.
So that could be a confounding variable. That might completely throw this whole idea off. But that's what I'm thinking now. So I think that's the goal. His scheme involves Kyo and Yuki and Tohru. I think Hattori specifically mentioned all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think his scheme involves making Yuki have more of a backbone and maybe even giving Kyo the opportunity to beat Yuki. It's somehow to break the curse, and Tohru's going to be a key player in that because she's the only one who didn't run from Kyo's monster form. She's the one who's literally erasing, as we learn in this episode, all of the kind of trauma. Well, not erasing, but helping heal a lot of the trauma from Akito, to the extent that Yuki's able to exist and see the light. And so I think helping those two grow at the risk of aggravating Akito, which will aggravate Akito, I'm positive, if Akito realizes that he's losing a grip on Yuki specifically. Because Akito's an abuser. If the abuser realizes that they are losing control of their abusee, they'll lash out even more. And so that's kind of the risk factor, I think, here. If that makes sense. And so I think that somehow I don't think it'll pit Yuki and Kyo together, but Kyo will win something over Yuki and now mend the zodiac. I think it all comes down to mending the zodiac and righting the wrongs of Yuki, tricking the cat and all that. If that makes sense.
Okay. Ooh, juicy theories. Hello.
But I don't have any. I can't think of any details. That's as much as I can kind of muster.
No, that's all I expect you to have at this point in this story. Don't fret too much over it. I'm sure a lot of people are happy that they even got that much out of an anime-only viewer, so...
Okay.
10 out of 10.
Thanks
for trying so hard.
Okay, yeah. Because I was just like,
You recalled intense details from season 1. You're doing great.
Okay. Cool.
I'm proud of you for doing that much. Okay.
I've been rewatching.
So, yes. Good. I'm so proud. Okay. So, past that little scene... Now we're coming over to Yuki, which happened in the beginning.
Yes.
Little flash forward bit. Yuki bumps into Kureno and sees Akito hanging out on one of those wave breakers, and Akito's being all creepy again.
So, this whole interaction, I just feel so bad for Yuki because it came so out of left field for him.
Yeah.
He's just going...
How do you know that Akito's there?
Yeah. He's just going on a walk to clear his head a little bit, and that did anything but clear his head. Although, in a way, it helped clear his head. Ultimately.
Yeah, he did say at the end that the lid had been opened because of Akito.
Yeah. And so, something that really stood out to me in all of this was that at the very beginning of the episode, we heard that kind of internal monologue saying that I wanted to believe it wasn't all pitch black, and we get more insight into whether or not he was able to break that mindset in a little bit. But the thing that weirdly stood out to me the most in this encounter was that Kureno was standing there, and Kureno says nothing to anyone ever. And if Akito is talking to someone, it seems like he makes sure to be looking away.
Yeah, that's true.
Kureno is... This episode has made me feel so bad for Kureno. Because I'm just going to tie this little bit of Kureno and what we see a little bit later together.
Yeah.
Just so we can get all of the Kureno stuff together. Kureno is... Everyone's surprised to see Kureno. Because no one apparently is ever typically allowed to see him.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to wonder if this is what Akito tried to do to Yuki.
Yeah,
Oh, go.
Sorry. They do say, I think it was Shigure had said, Yuki won't always be that locked up kid. And while he's saying that, they're showing Kureno in a dark room, sitting very perfectly, like he's waiting for Akito to walk in at any moment, and just showing him being like a caged bird, essentially.
Yes. And I think that's so fitting, because what's the other kind of animal that you think of as being in a cage? You know, being experimented on? There are birds, and then there are caged rats.
Oh, whoa, I never thought of that.
And so, I think that Yuki escaped the cage, essentially, and Akito just expected, oh, Yuki will come back, kind of through gaslighting and emotional abuse, when Akito believes that Yuki will see that he can't find happiness in the world, which Akito's in for a rude awakening very soon. And I think that Kureno, on the other hand, is what Yuki could have been, just stuck in that dark room forever, not leaving unless allowed to. And
yeah,
I think that Kureno's gonna go through, even though he's much older, is gonna go through something similar to what Yuki went through soon with Urotani.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's going to start kind of looking to spread his little rooster wings a bit, if you will.
Okay.
And so I think that's something to be interested in moving forward.
Yeah. Alrighty. I like your theories. Okay. So,
thank you.
Is that all you had for the Akito, Kureno, Yuki little bit?
Yeah.
Cool. So, now we're going to go back to Tohru and the rest of the gang, and Shigure showed up, and he's saying that Akito's there, and now they have to go over and say hello.
Mm-hmm.
And poor Tohru.
Poor Tohru. And
poor Kisa.
Kisa's little sigh of relief when she found out that Tohru didn't have to go see Akito was so precious. And it shows just how scared all of them, barring it seems Momiji, are of Akito.
Yeah. And then also, I just have a quick little note about the importance of Akito being there. They don't cover this in the anime, but it is talked about in the manga very briefly. When our group initially shows up to the beach house has a bunch of maids. And they all take care of like the cleaning and the cooking and all those kinds of things. And now that Akito is there staying at the annex, all of the maids in the manga at least went over to Akito's. So now Tohru is now in charge of taking care of what we believe will be all of the cooking and cleaning again, just as she had back at the other house, unless anybody else helps her, which would be really nice, but, you know, we have to believe that it's gonna fall on Tohru's shoulders, so it's just another little punch to the gut, like, oh yeah, all your maids left too, so enjoy your vacation.
Yeah, because I didn't know that there were maids to begin with, but even if, let's say in the anime there weren't any to begin with, she probably still is doing all of the cooking and cleaning. Oh, poor Tohru. Well, she likes it.
She does like it, but still, it's like, it's your vacation, girl. Take a break.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, so Shigure says that they all have to go over, and they're getting ready to go, and Kyo doesn't, because he's the cat.
Which, I have mixed... I feel like he must feel excluded and sad and upset about that. But at the same time, is it really bad when you don't have to go see Akito?
Yeah, Kyo doesn't seem to like Akito too much, so
yeah,
maybe he's not that upset about it.
it might be upsetting that he's blatantly excluded from the Zodiac when he knows that we know that he wants to be included in the Zodiac, but less Akito time for him, so there are wins there.
True, but Tohru's definitely upset for him,
Mm-hmm.
and she's so sad about it, and he's like, don't worry about it, and she starts to feel really lonely and upset, so she just roars.
Yes, and
the look on Kyo's face.
Yes, he looks so sad whenever she forces her feelings down and completely swallows them and becomes so happy, and it's so sad.
It is. It gets me every time. But pancake scene, which I know the manga readers love, but that doesn't really have much to do with the anime viewers.
Yeah. You told me at the end that they ended up eating I didn't even realize that. He said it was a joke, and I assumed they just ate something else. I didn't realize that they actually had pancakes.
Yeah, I don't know if anime onlys will get the same type of joy that manga readers got out of that scene, but oh well. But then the group is walking, Kisa, Hiro, and everyone else going to visit Akito, and Kisa's all upset and worried.
So, Akito doesn't like Momiji, and I think I know why.
Ooh, why? Do tell.
Because I mentioned earlier that Momiji's so mature and mentally strong that I don't think Akito's mind games work on the boy. And so I think that mental strength and fortitude makes Akito really detest Momiji. Because Momiji is probably the only member of the Zodiac that Akito doesn't have his claws in profoundly.
Yeah, I could see that.
So that's my little... That's what I think is why Akito doesn't like Momiji.
Okay, we'll see if that's true. But then they get to Akito's, and Shigure goes around the back. He's talking to Hattori, and there's one important little bit I have to bring up to you.
Okay.
So, they start talking about Ren. Very briefly,
yes.
Just once. But it's not Reen, not the horse, Ren. So the little conversation that happens is they're talking about how Kureno is there, and Hattori mentions that Akito must be feeling insecure, and that's why Kureno's there. Shigure asks, did Ren-san come to meddle? And Hattori starts to say it's forbidden to talk about that. Did you get anything from that? Are you curious? What's going on in your mindset?
I mean, I'm curious because I don't know who Ren is and why are they forbidden to be talked about. I have no ideas because I don't think it's Kureno who has Ren in his name, because they already kind of referred to Kureno as Kureno. So why would they switch up with Ren? And Kureno doesn't seem the type to meddle. And so I have legitimately no idea who that could possibly be.
You don't think it's a Zodiac member? You're still thinking Kureno is the rooster?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think it's a Zodiac member. Maybe it's Akito's parent. Akito probably has parents, if Akito didn't kill them. So
true. Amen to that.
so maybe it's Akito's guardian or former guardian, since it seems Akito tends to take care of himself. Although he's the family head, I don't know how that dynamic works in terms of parents. So that's my only quote unquote guess, but I don't have any ideas.
Okay. I will take that. So, I didn't expect you to here.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
I'm
but
green.
just mostly wanted to note that a name was brought up and it wasn't Reen, it was definitely Ren.
Yeah.
Because that confuses a lot of people. So, some of these other little things we already kind of went over with like the Yuki Kureno dynamic kind of scene. So do you have anything else from that?
Not really.
So Tohru leaves the house, leaves Kyo, goes on a walk, and is underneath the most beautiful starry night sky. Apps in the sunset on the beach. Oh my gosh. They really
as the
went
clouds
above and beyond.
are receding.
Yeah.
And this is something that I loved, was the visual storytelling, even past just what they were saying, because so Yuki sees her on the beach, they meet up, they start talking, and it goes to them with Yuki walking out of the clouds, the darkness, into all of these god rays, all of this light. And then we ultimately get that really beautiful starry sky. So almost him literally walking out of that pitch black mindset into a better, more positive, more healthy one. And you can get all of that just from looking at the scene. And I think that's so cool.
It is. It's really amazing. They did so well with it.
Yeah.
But these Soma boys, they're always saying that they're happy when they're looking sad. And Tohru called him out on that.
Yes.
I just thought it was funny how good of a comparison it was to Kureno and Uotani just a couple episodes ago.
Yeah. I think that is a really interesting parallel because they all have those sad smiles. And Uotani and Tohru see that immediately.
Yeah, Hanajima has her wave power suit. She doesn't even have to look at your face to know if you're upset.
Yeah.
But Tohru and Uotani, they got you down.
Yeah. This is when
Kissy.
Yuki...
Kissy?
Yes. Before the kissy, Yuki says he's opened the lid.
Lid Sama.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that before or after the kiss?
I think it was before.
It was somewhere in there. And we see how the hat situation, him knowing that he gave that hat to Tohru, literally changed the trajectory of his life because it was the first time he ever was needed. And I thought that was so spectacular and amazing how they tied that in to his growth and eventually taking the lid off, all because of a literal lid for your head.
Whoa!
He literally took the lid off and put it on Tohru.
Oh my god.
And so I thought that was, I know that that's, who calls hats lids anymore, but like...
There's a whole store called Lids, and it's still alive and well in
That is
malls.
a pop-in store. And so I think that was so cool when he realized just a couple episodes ago that she still has that hat and how meaningful it was to her and still is this far along in her life. And it seems like that was the first time he ever felt useful after Akito beat into his skull that he's useless and worthless and only good for doing what Akito says.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
And then oh,
kissy.
Go for it. Yes, kissy.
Kissy. Forehead kissy with one tear.
One tear. And he says that she is like the night sky, so dear to him.
Yes, thank God. Anime onlys, don't worry about this. Manga readers, you know the translation errors that were very terrible during this scene. I won't go into it, but...
What did it say? Or can you not tell me?
I I'm not going to tell you because it's not a spoiler, but it could lead you to spoilery thoughts. But they just, like, butchered the translation, and so it kind of changed your perception on the scene into something that it wasn't.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I won't say if it was romantic or not romantic, but it just was something else.
Okay. Well, regardless, this also... I liked this scene a lot, but I think it still exemplified how their dynamic works. That he's the one... She listens to his weaknesses. He can open up to her. Has she really opened up to him ever? It almost feels one-sided to an extent.
Yeah,
It feels like
Whoa.
she does a lot for him and is really helping him profoundly. But he doesn't... He helps her with stuff. He helps her with homework, and I think they're very close. But he never really helps her with anything profound. So I loved this scene because I love Yuki, and seeing him happy and being able to take that lid off is so wonderful. But you can see she doesn't know what to do with her hands. She doesn't know how to react to what's happening. She's taken aback. I'm sure she's happy that he's confiding all of this into her, and he seems to genuinely have so much trust in her, but it all feels very one-sided to me.
Okay. I can see that.
Unless I'm forgetting something, which is very possible. If I'm forgetting something, tell me down below. But is there anything that we anything that we kind of missed, or anything that you wanted to talk about in particular that we didn't get to?
Nope, we covered all my stuff, but manga lovers, please ask your questions down below.
Yes.
Make them spoiler free,
Yes.
please.
Please, no spoilers. Please, please, please. But any non-spoilery questions, definitely ask below.
Definitely. And he'll answer them. You get those juicy anime-only views.
Yes. Yes.
But our next episode is Well, It's True, which is the voice of Reen, if you couldn't tell.
Ooh. Is she...
Spicy.
Is she gonna come to the beach? I guess you can't really tell me that. But...
I don't know. I totally missed in the invitation part when Momiji said that he invited a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I totally missed that he didn't invite Reen. But that also makes sense because they thought that she was in the hospital. So...
Well... He didn't invite Akito either, but here Akito is. So...
True. You know, a party at the beach.
Yeah. Whenever you have a party, you have to account for a lot of extra people showing up anyways. So, if you liked this episode, and you want to hear more of us talking about Fruits Basket for the rest of the season and beyond, like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, a fantastic rest of your week, and why not even a fantastic rest of your month. And we'll see you in the next episode. Have a great one.
See
Later.
ya.